So I'm going to start with an old poem, something I know, just to like warm up everybody. And I wrote this poem because as women, there's always a comparison of what beautiful should look like, right? And I think the same can be said for men, but it's like the regimen for women is like stricter. This size, this color, this hair, etc., etc. So I wrote this poem when I was feeling not so pretty and a bit heavier and a lot more unhealthier than I was. And this was a poem to myself. So here it goes. And this is called Big Girl Poem. To the plus-size girl I once was, the full cream, double thick, and then some girl, the girl I barely see on billboards, that size 16 girl. Honey, I wish someone could have told you just once that you are a wonder, something to go to and never come back from, a four-way stretch of hips, thighs, a bum, and a waist with enough room for a man to stand his soul in and jive in, and he will jive like his feet have just learned to laugh with a mouth wide open, and he will hide in you from a world too busy making dream catchers out of him, and he will stay this old dog in desperate devotion to your curves until you grow tired of him and his fragile voodoo. Big girl, do you see how great you are? You are beautiful, off track, and just right. You are good food, and oh, too much laughter in that round tummy of yours. And many, many, many men will go to war for you, unwilling to ration even a piece of your right cheek to someone else's lips, wanting every last string of you. The unhealthy bits, especially. Wanting all of your too much in skin and arms, and no one will have warned them of your seas and their moons, and they will sink into you and come back begging for seconds and thirds and fourths, hungry for the heat of their hand in yours, because no one can hold them like you. And this world can't stand it. Can't walk next to you or past you without sneering at the excess of your splendor, that anyone could love you, all of you. And the sinful parts you hide from lovers when the lights are turned off is a surprise their jaws are still making their way back from. And when they recover, they will call you fat and chunky. They will say this makes you ugly. You will be the dirty secret whose clothes they hide in the back of a shop. But this is just envy, honey. They envy your audacity to love your food so publicly. This world is irritated pink by your nerve to wear your food so tightly around you like the hug of a good-looking man. And they want some of that loving too. So, next time, when you're in a club, dance harder than the tacky disco lights. Swing the apple crumble chocolate character of your arms wildly. But don't forget to stop and check your reflection. Thank your God for your body and your good grounding, because it is good enough and better. And then walk yourself home. So that is that. And all right, so the next poem is called In Her Father's World, and this poem came about, I was watching my niece, and every time she concentrates and she does something really not even that serious, she could be tying her shoes, she could be learning something, it's something she doesn't really know how to do, so her tongue would always be over her bottom lip like this, like concentrating and trying to get it right. And so I thought to myself, you know, I wonder how safe my niece is in the world. I wonder what kind of person she can grow up to be. I wonder who she'll be allowed to love later on in this world. Yeah, so that's the image I started with, and this is what I got. Okay. In her father's world, when she's old enough to tie her own shoes, without a determined tongue creased over her bottom lip, the body of a brave girl ticking slowly on a monkey bar, lingering there no less than 5 minutes, her brows meeting in deliberation about what size to make the bunny's ears. When she can make a deaf bunny and not care, when she can call the bunny a shoelace, her mother will still consider her her baby. Remember the crying red knee, blinded by small stones. Remember wanting to hoist all the world's stones into a ship with just enough oil to move far away from her baby. In her father's world, when she wrenches the pigtails out of her hair, taking down with them Tinkerbell and the Tooth Fairy, when in public she holds a lover's hand, saying, I could walk, but I like this parachute. When her love is the first from whom the only medicine is leaving, her father will worry. Worry that someone will notice that she is a woman now. Someone with a kind of darkness that can hold fire in its mouth and smoke it. Someone waiting with a dark alley in a fist, who will leave for them in the corner of a street, in the shallow grave of a bed, an outfit of ash like bones breaking off a building in September. In her father's world, they make new ways to kill her. For the woman on her chest, for who she loves, for just because, for the breath in her legs. And those of you who are her sworn shelter may say, you can put up doors through any wall to us, walk through barred windows to us, because you can get in on our love from anywhere. She may know this to be the truth, except when the men are faster than you, except when they have the hammer and the nails, except when she is the wood, and she is all too often the wood. Being a woman in a man's world, it's a dance we're still making the shoes for. Okay, the next poem is called Black Girl Poem. It's a really, really old poem. I'm not going to explain this one. I'm just going to say it. So. Black girl, loan me your lonely. And don't bother washing it or giving it a pretty press. Let me have it at its worst, and I will keep it for you. I will show you joy that you don't have to lie under or break your soul open on to keep. So hand that lonely over. I will keep it in a book. And it doesn't make you look sexy or mysterious, honey. All I can see is sad. And don't tell me you don't have none. I can see it now in the smiles you hold against your sadness, and our mothers have plenty of lonely left over to share. In a memory, under a bed, in a photo. And lonely is your father, who never ever cried, taught to stand on the pain and raise his chest and die a little and be a little man, and big boys don't cry. And though he still loves you, he could never publicly hand over his tears, not even to soothe yours. But if it's not that deep, fine, let's write a book and we'll call it Survival. And you will never go on a diet again. You will not shrink or sink yourself any further because you are gravity. Your skin is perfect sense and karma, and baby, it's your turn to shine. Your turn to hold the orbit of the universe around your tongue, and no one can do it like you. No one can swing it like you. And they will call you strength, natural and amazing. They will call you brave because that's what you've always been. But you never believed it until a man said it was true. You're going to have to learn that you don't need a man. Take your lonely in your hands. Find an ocean and then learn to swim. Find the ground of that ocean and dig lonely a big ass hole and bury it there. Black girl, stop carrying your damaged clutter around with you. It doesn't look good on any of us. And besides, no one can wear insecure and get a compliment. And that will be the first line of a book dedicated to black girls. And God, I hope they like to read. That's the poem I wrote. I went to Joburg Pride, and I was actually just performing there, so I thought, and I actually learned a lot from Joburg People's Pride, which is actually happening on the 5th of October, I think. And their main issue is they can't integrate themselves into usual pride that's happening, because pride that's happening does not reflect the issues they have. And the speaker said something really important. She was like, we can't join you if you don't reflect who we are, if yourself doesn't reflect ourself and the issues of race that are intersectional and class, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, this is interesting. So this poem came about via that. It's not titled yet because it's not finished yet. Okay. When you find love in the arms they did not send you to, they will say no. They will tell you the ways love has always been done. They will say nothing of the years they left it out of the hands in their words. They will say, look, this is the whole world. This is how you hold love in the palm of a hand. Your mother did it. So let your voice not be so loud that it is too hot to keep in these hands. Let your love not be too difficult for us to crease into a Bible or a dinner table conversation. Your love should pass easily between the salt and dessert. But know this, it is not defeat to be who you are, to love who you love, because you too are all the words for God. Big School is a naming poem, and I actually wrote it. I have this mother, she's like a firecracker of a woman. And she's of course a woman, she's very quiet. My mother never shouts. Like, I've never heard my mother raise her voice, but like, she just needs to look at you and then speak, and you know to be proper and be good. That's how discipline has always happened. So I come from Krugersdorp, which is largely an Afrikaans town. And ever since I've grown up, like my name is Vuyelwa. My name has been Vuhawa, Vulelwa, everything outside of Vuyelwa, which is, it's a very easy name. There's like Kules and Kagazos walking around in the world, you know? And I'm just like, my mother made it easy for you, so easy. So we were at the orthodontist. And these teeth are paid for. 5 good years of braces, hey, hey. So my mother's like filling in this form for the braces. And this woman is like, she's trying to read my name, I suppose. And she says to my mother, these African names, they're so hard. And my mother just goes, And when a black mother goes, you know what's going on here. I was just like, oh gosh, my mother's gonna bring it. And my mother just smiled at her and said, do you think Vanda Meva comes easy to my tongue? And she kept on going. I was like, ew, mama. But like, my mother taught me, I didn't see how significant that was, but that moment alone taught me to keep correcting people, to not be diluting yourself. So if somebody's going to say Vuyelwa, they will, Vuhawa, whatever, they will learn. If you keep saying, no, that's not what it is. It's Vuyelwa. So yeah, that's the story of the poem, and this is the poem. On the first day of big school, when the teacher lowers her glasses, the old couple held together by a weary frame, her shaky hands rocking the glasses down her crooked nose, to sit their heels in the trench of skin dug for the times she needed to stand her eyes taller over them, so she could squint to scowl at the naughty boy with the hot dog on his shirt. But today, her misty glasses are lowered for a scowl at you when she asks, what is your name? But you've practiced saying your name on a playground with friends. Know the mermaid skin it was sewn from could pick out the sound of each vowel jumping on top of a zinc roof in a rainstorm. Your name could play a game of hide and seek And you, who knows it as well as your mother does, would find it, hear it giggle underneath the sofa, spy the small body hold its breath in between the mist of leaves in your neighbor's backyard. And since you don't know how to hate your name yet, don't know how to want it to be easy, a stripper's nickname maybe, you answer proudly. Vuyelwa, Lerato, Tenyuko, Rulani, Buitumelo, Karabo. Answer through custard cheeks with your parents' promise for you. And when they ask for something easier, know that all promises worth making should dry your mouth out. And you are a language without acronyms. To the child sitting in a classroom with tables that could swallow you. When she picks up the name lists, twists her eyes at your name to try to find something her tongue can lift, and then, reluctantly, pushes you out in syllables, like a smelly meal eaten on a sweltering summer day in front of a garden boy she named Alex. This will be your first injury in big school. But all your mother will remember of this day are your brave fingers and how they found friends and eventually let go of her. The shiny polish of your feet, and she couldn't tell whether your smile was nervous or uncomfortable, but she will remember this as a beginning. For you, it will not be the last time you have to repeat your name, to call it off a ledge built by a language that only lets us rent it for public appearances and university applications and poems like this. But it is still not ours. So, to my children I will say, in the language of their name, every lump in your name is my demand on the world for you. Let those who cannot fulfill each letter choke on it.
Yes.
And besides, as long as your name holds pieces of your parents' tribes in it, it'll be too big for some mouths, but still, make them say it. Because only the people who can say it can see you. And baby, your soul, it has a face worth seeing.